What's going on, guys? My name is Tim Roswick, and today I want to talk about a marketing concept that I think a lot of people overlook. A lot of people, myself included, when I started marketing, we look at marketing like it's a series of things to do. Like, it's how am I going to do marketing today? Well, I got to get my Twitter account. I got to get my Facebook account. I got to do this. I got to do that. I go post here and go post there. And especially when you do research, right? You're going to find a whole bunch of articles that say, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to post on Twitter X times a day, you need to do that. And I think this is the wrong approach to marketing because I feel like while some of that stuff may work and it might maybe even get you some sales or some exposure for your game, what it doesn't do is teach you the underlying principle of what marketing is about. And it doesn't teach you to kind of think outside the box of the existing norms. And if you're constantly doing what everyone else is doing, you're going to be on the same playing field as everyone else. You don't have an advantage. You don't have a disadvantage. You are just kind of there with everyone else fighting for attention. And this is especially important because there's a whole thing with Steam right now, especially for the past year. People have been saying that, like, it's really hard to get any sales at all with just the Steam platform. It's really hard to get any kind of exposure without, like, marketing behind you, right? And I've known this for like a long time. Like, I don't even expect any downloads at all or any sales at all without marketing, but I know a lot of game developers do. Um, and I can make a whole nother video on the subject on why marketing is a good thing and all that stuff. But today I want to kind of talk about going where the eyeballs are. This is something that, like, I think once you learn, it changes your perception on marketing, and it can kind of help you craft your own little method of marketing that I think can give you an advantage or give you an edge, put your game above others. And basically, the concept is simple. It's just like you have a player base, you have people that want to play your game. You have to figure out where those people are, and you have to get in front of them somehow. And that sounds super simple, and you've probably heard it broken down like that before. But really think about that, right? Like, I remember when I lived in LA, I was driving home from Marina Del Rey one day, and I was going through downtown because I lived right near Dodger Stadium. And I was going through downtown, and I was in traffic. I was stuck in traffic, and slowed to a crawl. Like, right there in that intersection of the whole city is like, that's where the worst traffic is. And there's a billboard on this big building next to me. I was in an apartment building, and it said, if you lived here, you'd be home by now. And I always thought that was brilliant because, one, all of those people were generally part of the targeted market of the apartment building. All those people traveling through there, and they delivered a message that I think really resonated with the people sitting in traffic, the people that couldn't go anywhere, the people that were stuck there for way longer than they wanted to be. If you lived there, you'd be home by now. I always thought that was awesome. And that's a great example of going where the eyeballs are. There's a lot of eyeballs sitting in traffic, just not having anything to do, right? And I think the same thing goes for games. I'm not saying, obviously a billboard wouldn't work as well for a game, but if you can figure out where large quantities of people that are interested in what you have to offer hang out, and you can find a way to just get a message in front of them, right? I think you already have an advantage on everyone else that's doing marketing in your niche, because a lot of them are going through the same motions. They're posting on Twitter, they're posting on Facebook, they're doing all the same stuff that they tell you over and over again to do in all the articles and all the books and all the stuff. And if you're doing what everyone else is doing, you can expect results that everyone else is getting. And at a time where people are talking about indie apocalypse and all this different stuff, doing what everyone else is doing is not always the best option. But understanding the fundamental concept of having to get in front of eyeballs, get in front of targeted people, get in front of people that are interested in what you have to sell, I think is the core thing that you need to learn about marketing. Because once you learn that and then you post on Twitter, you're like, okay, well, this doesn't make sense for me to just post. Why don't I find some hashtags that people are following that would be relevant to people that are interested in my game, right? If I'm making an RPG, is there an RPG specific hashtag that I can use, that I can post to? Because those people would be looking at the hashtag. That's where the eyeballs are. So I'm going where the eyeballs are. And the same thing goes for, like, every place on the internet, Reddit, forums, groups on Facebook, hashtags on Twitter or Instagram, all kinds of stuff. Once you understand the fundamental concept of going where the eyeballs are, I think it makes marketing a lot easier. And the other part of that is delivering the right message to the eyeballs, right? Like, to the people that are looking at your message. You got to deliver the right message. And the only way to really do that is to iterate, right? You're going to have a message that you put out that's not going to resonate with people, but you have to pay attention and see what works and what doesn't. You can do this online with data, right? Like, you can put a headline at the top of your webpage, and you can monitor the bounce rate or monitor the click-through rate of how many people click on the website. And when you say one thing on the headline, a bunch of people might click. When you say another thing, maybe less people click. Okay, that's a bad headline, right? This also works really well in person. Excuse me. If you're going to an event or something like that, my advice would be to test out as many ways of selling your game as possible. And what I mean by this is, like, let's say you're making an RPG FPS hybrid, right? You might say, I'm making an RPG FPS hybrid. Would you like to play? Something like that. Does that catch them? Or no, what if you say it's a loot-based FPS, right? What if it's an FPS where you can upgrade skills and collect weapons? What if it's you know what I'm saying? Like, there's different ways to present your idea, and you got to understand what is attractive to the people that will be accepting the message, be hearing the message. And when you're at an event, I think this is the best place to do it, because you can just rapid fire over and over, and you can watch people's eyes and you can see if they're interested or not. And you can just say a bunch of stuff over and over again. And did that work? Did that work? Did that work? And you'll start to say things that get people's interest, right? You'll start to say things that, oh, that sounds interesting. I want to play that. And once you got that, then you can use that everywhere else. But the fundamental concept is to be in front of the eyeballs, right? That's why people go to shows and events in the first place, because there's tons of eyeballs everywhere. And it's worth thousands of dollars to companies just to be in front of those people. So if you can think outside the box and you can really work on your message and get it in front of people, I think you can become an effective marketer without doing all the traditional stuff that they tell you to do. It's not about doing Twitter or doing Facebook or doing any one of these things. It's about understanding that the right message in front of the right people is what generates sales, right? You got to figure out where the people are that are looking for your game. Where would they hang out? Are they in groups? Are they in meetups? Are they on forums, message boards? Maybe they're in a competing game forum, right? Like, maybe you're making a game inspired by another game that came out 20 years ago or something. Maybe going on to that forum, there's a bunch of people that'd be interested in your game. Thinking just a little bit outside the box of where these people might be, and then working just a little bit on what you say to them. The things that you put on your website, the things that you put in your headline, things you put in your forum signature, the things that you say to people when you interact with them. Those things are just as important. And I would work on those and really formulate those to where you know without a doubt that when you tell the right person the right thing, they're going to be interested in your game. So that's all I got for you today. I hope you found it useful. Have you ever done this? Have you ever, figured out a place where your people hang out, where the people that are interested in your game hang out, and then gone there and got in front of them? If you did, please let me know. If you get any questions on this, please let me know that as well. I'm always open to questions, and I'll be happy to answer them. But once again, my name is Tim Roswick, and I will see you guys again tomorrow.